What's going on, everyone? Bass here. So today I wanted to go over my biggest takeaways from Packers OTAs as well as Mandatory Minicamp. Of course, the Packers are finishing their OTAs where they have one more today that's not open to the media. OTAs, of course, are not mandatory. They were in May and also June, while Mandatory Minicamp was on June 7th, 8th, and 9th. So in this video, I wanted to go over my biggest takeaways from the first half of the Packers offseason. And if you are new here and are interested in everything Packers, from news analysis to updates almost daily, consider going down and clicking the subscribe button below. Also, these are in no particular order, but let's get into it. For number one, I have the Packers' plan at offensive line. With both David Bakhtiari and Elgton Jenkins not practicing and in the rehab group, the Packers had to shift around that offensive line during OTAs and minicamp a bunch this year. This included Yosh Nijman playing left tackle and right tackle, as well as Cole Van Lanning playing left tackle and right tackle as well. Mainly the interior stayed the same, with John Runyan at left guard, Josh Myers at center, and Royce Newman at right guard. But Royce Newman recently also got some snaps at right tackle. We saw some of that last year before he got the starting right guard position, so interesting to see that there. Rookie Zach Tom also saw multiple positions at tackle, guard, and also center. And rookie Sean Ryan saw snaps at right guard, and rookie Rashaan Walker saw snaps at right tackle. Now, of course, there is a lot of time from now to week one, including training camp and preseason, but they are clearly trying multiple people at multiple positions, with both Bach and Elgton a big question mark going into week one. Elgton Jenkins could easily start the year on the PUP, leaving a hole at right tackle, and if that was the case, Yosh Nijman could start at right tackle. Royce Newman could swap out to right tackle, and if that's the case, then you have another hole at right guard. Then I would assume rookie Sean Ryan would go into right guard. But the main thing here is the Packers are testing the versatility of all their linemen, seeing where they fit best, just in case if players like Elgton Jenkins and David Bakhtiari aren't ready to go. For number two, we have new wide receiver Sammy Watkins will be a big part of this offense. So the Packers signed Sammy Watkins before the NFL draft, and going into this offseason, a lot of us, myself included, weren't sure if Sammy Watkins was even a roster lock, especially after they drafted 3 wide receivers in the draft because of his low guarantees and money. But that question was clearly answered when Matt LaFleur spoke on Sammy Watkins recently, saying he will be a big part in this offense and he will get his chances. Aaron Rodgers said very similar things as well. So right now it is looking like Sammy Watkins will open up at that number 2 wide receiver spot opposite Allen Lazard, and none of the rookies will likely start right out of the gate. Although I assume both Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs will get plenty of snaps, I think the Packers may rotate wide receivers more than they ever have in previous years with a clear number 1 like Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson. I think the Packers are going to almost have a wide receiver by committee, if that makes sense, and they're going to be rotating guys in and out frequently. Obviously, but drafting those 3 rookie receivers, Christian Watson in the 2nd round, Romeo Doubs in the 4th round, and Samori Toure in the 7th round. Now, we don't know how many wide receivers the Packers are going to keep on that 53-man roster, but there's a lot of guys that I already see as roster locks, about 6 of them. So if they were to keep someone like Samori Toure, who they drafted in the 7th round, I think the Packers are going to end up having to keep 7 wide receivers, which they very well could do. For number 3, I have the Packers starting nickel defense, primarily the fact that Rasul Douglas got that starting slot cornerback role. Going into this offseason, we all thought Jaire Alexander would likely get that slot/star role with both Eric Stokes and Rasul Douglas on the outside cornerbacks spots, but right out of the gate, we did receive a curveball. Rasul Douglas lined up in that slot cornerback role, which was just not expected. Matt LaFleur later mentioned that he loved Rasul's physicality and thinks Rasul could do really well in that spot, and I do have to agree. Rasul Douglas is a good tackler. As Matt LaFleur said, a physical player built like a safety. I think he can flourish in that slot role. And this also allows the Packers to have their 3 best cornerbacks out on the field all at once when they're in nickel defense, whilst keeping Jaire outside to lock down the number 1 wide receiver, which is a smart move, although I think Jaire Alexander could pretty much play anywhere on the defense in the defensive backfield. It's best to keep him outside and on his own island where he's been an all-pro at. For number 4, I have Tyler Davis could end up starting at tight end. Both Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst have spoken highly on Tyler Davis, who they signed mid last season as a free agent, showing their commitment to the tight end and his growth and ability to make plays. With the unknown currently with Bob Tonyan, whether or not he'll be ready to go week 1, Davis could easily be the tight end to take that role from him week 1, and then have Mercedes Lewis as that number 2 tight end or designated blocking role. Not to mention, Tyler Davis has also showed promise in the blocking game as well last year, and the fact that Josiah DeGuara and Dominique Daff Gaffney serve more of that H-back tight end type of role. That could leave Tyler Davis alone as a vertical/move tight end, with Tonyan possibly not being ready to take that role week 1. And I think Davis could flourish in that Matt LaFleur system. So very interested to see what happens going forward in this tight end room. For number 5, I have both first-round selections are already part of the first-team defense. It didn't take long for Quay Walker to get ahead of Chris Barnes at that number 2 inside linebacker spot, jumping him during minicamp and holding that number 2 spot and not looking back since, showcasing his speed, alertness, and playmaking ability, and even showing he could be a leader, taking the green dot helmet or the play-calling ability as an inside linebacker role this week with Devondre Campbell being absent. Overall, I'm just super excited to see what Quay Walker can bring to this inside linebacker room that seemingly is finally getting invested in after all these years. Quay Walker also took some snaps at edge as well, so they're just testing out his versatility as well. And then also Devonte Wyatt, the other first-round selection, started taking first-team reps over Jerron Reed, the free agent they signed in the offseason, only after the first couple of weeks, showcasing both Georgia defenders will contribute a lot year 1. And I think having someone like Wyatt next to Kenny Clark could provide a lot. Likely Wyatt won't see many double teams as Kenny Clark and Rashaan Gary see a lot of double teams, which could really allow Wyatt to wreak havoc in the backfield. And lastly, at number 6, I have Rashaan Gary setting the standard. After being one of the last vets to remain at OTAs this week, Gary said he wanted to set the standard for all rookies, saying they as players wear the helmet for the players before them. It's a historical organization, and he wants everyone to know that. Really taking on this leader role of this defense after Zadarius Smith being gone, and really taking no days off. After having his best year yet in the NFL last year, leading the team in both pressures and sacks, a lot of people, myself included, expect a Defensive Player of the Year type of season for Rashaan Gary this year. And I think he will improve on last year and will be even better than he was last year. And Rashaan Gary's just been looking really, really good in minicamp and OTAs. Really excited for him. I think the Packers' front 7 will be a lot better overall this year. But that does it for my biggest takeaways from both OTAs and minicamps for the Packers offseason this year. Training camp starts July 27th, which is a mere 41 days away. But I want to hear your biggest takeaways down in the comments below. Is there something I missed, or what do you see as a big takeaway? Just leave that down in the comments below. But that about does it for this one. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. I'll catch y'all next time. As always, go Pack Go.